How is everybody doing? I hope everybody has had a great holiday. I'm looking forward to the new year, and I hope we all have a great 2023. Today, I want to share with you my top 15 albums of 2022. Well, this is my list. I'm sure it'll be different from everybody else's, but uh, please, in the comments below, tell me your top 10 or 15, 25, whatever it may be. I'd love to find more music to delve into from this great year that has been 2022. So let's get started. My top 15 album of 2022, coming in at number 15, is Pure Reason Revolution with Above Cirrus. A great, well, I'm not going to say bombastic, but a great kind of in your face prog with a little bit of electronic tendencies thrown in. Very strong album. Came out quite early, I think it was. I think it was early summer, late spring, somewhere in there. It's had some great singles from it. Dead Butterfly is probably my favorite out of them all. So yeah, coming in at a strong number 15 is Pure Reason Revolution. Coming in at the 14th position is Bjorn Reese of Airbag, who has also released a full-length album as well as this EP. The EP is coming in at number 14. And if you don't know what the EP is, it is called A Fleeting Glimpse. It is his homage tribute to Pink Floyd. So if you're a big fan of Pink Floyd and you want to hear some like sounding music, make sure you check this EP out. It is you close your eyes and you swear that it may be actually Pink Floyd playing it. I mean, right down to the vocals and the arrangements. I'd be interesting to see how many people could pick out the different tidbits that are in this album. All right, coming in at number 13 is Coheed and Cambria's Vaxxas 2, sorry. And a great return to form, I think, for the group. I think Vaxxas won the Heavenly Creatures. It was a decent album, mind you. It was way, way too bloody long. There was a lot of filler on that album, I found, but I think they cut this one back and cut off a lot of the fat and just made an album that potentially every song on it could be a hit. It's that good of an album. If you haven't heard it, check it out. Coming in at number 12, after a long, long hiatus, is the Mars Volta and their titled track, their self-titled album, the Mars Volta. Now, anybody that's wanting to go back and hear, something of their own style, their old style, you'll be very disappointed. This album is a much more relaxed, gentle album, and I think that's why it appeals to me. Don't get me wrong, I love the old stuff, but this is quite a dramatic change, and I think most people who have heard it accept it and actually do quite enjoy it. Like I said, it's a complete 360 from their previous stuff. Just listen to a couple of the singles and you'll get an idea of what it sounds like. And I do recommend this one, as I do recommend all these albums. But this one, yeah, don't shy away from it just because of the name. All right, coming in at number 11 is good old Flower Kings, who keep just putting out amazing album after amazing album. And by the way, they're actually recording an album for probably a late summer, early fall release, according to Marco, the drummer. And I'm looking forward to that, as I assume every Flower Kings fan is. This album harkens back to some of their older styles, and I appreciate that because the last two, Islands was good, but the one above, before that, oh, what was it called? Waiting for Miracles, I thought was fairly weak, but it's good to see that they've released 2 consecutive albums that are pretty much spot on and great albums. And I've heard they're even going to write some epics for this album. So let's not lose control. That's going to be a great thing. I can't wait. Coming in at number 10 is Queensryche, a band I had kind of forgotten about over the last 5 years. The album before, I can't remember what it's called, but it also is very good. It's probably as strong with this, maybe a little bit stronger. I'd have to listen to it more, but their new album called Digital Noise Alliance is letting us know that the progressive rock, progressive metal is in good hands. And that's about it. Check it out. And coming in at number 9 is Veterans, Jethro Tull. And word is it that they're going to have a new album out quite early this year, so I'm looking forward to that as well, as everybody should be. This album got mixed reviews. Some people really liked it, some people didn't. I liked it quite a bit. It's not old Tull, but it's definitely something new that everybody can appreciate. I know I appreciated it a lot. I know a lot of people did. But like I said, there's been a couple of people out there that just kind of, poo-poo it and saying he's past his prime and stuff. But no, Ian Anderson is still with us and knows what he's doing. All right, coming in at number 8, we have Akins, Charlie Griffiths with his first solo record called Tiktalikka. Now, I was very weary about listening to this album because I knew it would have a lot of the Cookie Monster vocals and the growls, and I don't care for that stuff, so I didn't know what to expect, but I was actually blown away. Even the little amount of Cookie growl stuff I can ignore, but what a metal album, a progressive metal album. It's as good as, maybe even better than some of the Haken stuff. It's quite heavy. I know a lot of people like it. I love it. It was really hard putting it at number 8. It maybe should have been higher, but fortunately, there's other albums out there that take its place. But a solid effort from Charlie Griffiths at number 8 is Tiktalikka. Coming in at number 7 is the first group. This is the first surprise of the year for me, Lonely Robot. Of course, I know who they were. I wasn't born yesterday. I just had never found them to be something that I've been interested in until I heard Digital God Machine, and that song absolutely blew me away. So I instantly went out and bought it, and I love this album from start to end. It's a very emotional album. I got to do a lot with his relationships with his dad and just in general. And I got to dive more into their catalog because I think they've got about 5 or 6 albums previous to this. So if they're half as good as this, I'm in for a real treat. Coming in at number 6 is Great Old Arcade Fire. I've been an Arcade Fire fan pretty much since the start of their career. Their first 4 albums are phenomenal. I recommend them to everyone and anyone. Then they released an album after that called, it escapes me, damn it. Anyways, the album they released before this is not very good. In fact, when I did review it, I only gave it a 2.5, like a 2.5 out of 5 rating. I just found it absolutely horrible, cringeworthy, just nasty, just didn't appeal to me at all. I don't know why I even bought it. That kind of a thing. So I was a little leery when I heard that the Arcade Fire was actually releasing a new album. But the first time I heard, I instantly fell in love. It's got the emotional appeal of the first album, Funeral, and it's got little bits of the rest of their catalog thrown in for good measure. So I'd like to know what other people think about this album. I found it worthy enough to be in the top 6 position of the year, so it's got to be pretty good. All right, coming in at number 5 are Threshold, progressive metal veterans Threshold, and their album. What is it called? Man, I should have done some research. Sorry, guys. Lines divided or something. Divided lines. That's it. With the Queensryche, this is telling us that progressive metal is in good hands. It's taking 2 veteran bands to prove that, but that's, like I said, this year has been a weird one like that. We've got some older bands that have coming through and kind of teaching these new bands, maybe this is how it's done. Great songs off of it are, I'm drawing a blank today. Oh boy. The Domino Effect is a good song. King of Nothing is probably my favorite. So yeah, I recommend it. Check it out. It's kind of it was a surprise album to me. I didn't think it would even rank my top 15, but the more I listen to it, the more it deserves to be in that place. All right, for my next big shocker and surprise, and people don't become too hard on me for this, is Devin Townsend's Light Work. I've tried and tried for many, many years to get into Devin's music, but to no avail. I don't know if it's the way he writes, the way he sings. Maybe I've just picked the wrong albums, the wrong songs, but I heard Moon People and I instantly thought, oh, this is quite good. I really like this. And then Into the Void came, and that song is going to go down in history as one of my favorite songs. It's definitely my favorite song of this year. So I thought, no, I'm going to take advantage of this and just check this guy out, because obviously I've not given him enough time or credit. So yeah, this album pretty much blew me away. Not sure where I'm going to go from there, but like I said, I've got more and more to look up because Devi's got quite a catalog. So it's going to be an interesting listen and an interesting journey through his music. Coming in at number 3, we have Porcupine Tree, of course, with their album Continuation Closure. What to say about this album? Definitely to me a masterpiece. I hope this isn't their last album. I hope they do, reunite and down the road and not maybe wait as long between albums if they do. I know it rejuvenated. I think it rejuvenated Steven Wilson too. He's back writing some of the better songs that I think he writes. I mean, he writes good pop songs, but he also writes some songs that have got a little bit of meat and a little bit of to them too. So this exceptional album, full of there's no filler on this album. My favorite on it is Dignity, of course. So yeah, if you haven't heard it, check it out. And coming in at number 2, this is probably the biggest shocker for everybody, and this is Anti-My by the Deer Hunter. Like Devin Townsend, I wasn't really too familiar with the band other than by name. I was recommended by quite a few people on YouTube to check these guys out, and I'm glad I did, because wow, what a kick-ass album. If anybody hasn't heard this album this year, this is one that you've got to go back and listen to. I consider it a masterpiece as well. I can't wait for the sequel come out for the album and to look and dive into their back catalog as well. And coming in at number 1 is Marillion with An Hour Before It's Dark. Marillion are easily top 5 for me in favorite bands. I just love this album. This is an album I think and as well as society needed to hear. It's a very, very impacted by the pandemic and, such things like that. We got songs like Murder Machines that kind of talk of us about humans as, we can kill somebody by simply hugging them and spreading germs. Like that's some heavy shit, and it takes a band like Marillion and somebody like Steve Hogarth to really zone in on that kind of a mentality and share it and make it something beautiful that we can all experience. Okay, guys, let's get on to my honorable mentions. I'm not going to sit too much and talk about them, but coming in at number 5 was Rio Locomoto with the myth of the myth of the Mostraphus. Now, if Spock's Beard was to record an album, hopefully in the next couple of years, it has got to sound like this. This album didn't quite make my top 15, but it just kind of was on the outskirts. I wanted to really bad, but I honestly thought the previous 15 over here just kind of or too strong to put it in the top 15. It's not a bad album. It's a great album, actually. And of all these honorable mentions, this is the one that I need you to go out and listen to. All right, coming in at the number 4 position is a new group called Ghost of the Machine. And their album, excuse me, Scissor Games. Now, for those who don't know the group, they are made up of previous members from a group called This Winter Machine. And it's a great debut. It's got some strong stuff on it, but you can tell in their music they need to grow a little bit. And I think with their next release, I think they'll set themselves that much higher. At least that's what I hope for them, because I think and I believe they are a very talented group. And coming in at number 3 is Dirvigilio. Oh, I can't speak today. Is Dirvigilio, Morris, and Jennings with their album Troika. Very much an acoustic, kind of laid-back album. Very much influenced by groups like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and you definitely hear that in their playing in their harmonies. Great album. Again, I recommend it just as much as any of the other ones in my top 15. And coming in at 2 for my honorable mentions is a group that I just, within the last couple of weeks, started listening to, and they are called Haven of Echoes, and the album is called The Indifferent Stars. This album is blowing my mind. I can't really explain it. They have a kind of a new, unique sound. It's very cinematic sounding. I don't know how else to maybe describe it other than that. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. And I hope we hear more from them next year in 2023. And my number 1 honorable mention has to go to Steve Hackett, without any real reason other than he's probably, if not, my favorite guitarist out there, and from my favorite band Genesis. So anything he does Genesis related, or even his solo stuff, because it's quite good too, is going to be gold. So anyways, thanks everybody. That's been my top 15 albums of 2022. What a great year for music. I hope that 2023 is just as good, maybe even better. So like I said earlier, please leave your comments in below that your top 15, your top 10, whatever it may be. I'd love to see it, and maybe it's some new ideas of stuff I should be listening to. Anyways, guys, as usual, take care. We'll see you next year. Love each other, etc. And good night. See you again soon. Bye.